Hi, I love you. Today is August 8th, and I wanted to come on and tell you about a normal day in the life of the compound out here with Dan, Amy, and Elliot, Megan, Lake and Bay, and the cats. So, Lake and Bay got here about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon after Megan had gone to Goodwill to pick them up. And I got to see him after not having seen him a couple of months. So I gave Bay a big hug. She was wonderful and happy to see me. I went inside the house, and Lake agreed to stand stoically stiff while I hugged her. She didn't like wrench away from me or anything, which was a big win. And then I sat and visited with them for a few minutes. They were in the process of talking about dinner and putting food away and cutting up things. So it was a lot going on. And the cats were also inside the house. This would be Milo and Atticus. And gosh, I hope I have the names right there. And so I came back over to my little tiny house, my casita, gatehouse, granny pod. I'm not quite sure what to call it. So far, we're just calling it all of those. And after a few minutes, Bay came down and we did some artwork together. She drew her hand and then traced the outline of it and then drew some designs on the fingers and in the middle of her hand. And then she came over here and we colored it in together. So that's a picture of her lovely Bay hand. She had to go home after 30 minutes, which she did. And then afterwards, I waited here a little while and went up to the big house until about 5:30. Hi, Bay.
Hi, what time do you want to leave for the bagel shop?
You are all dressed. That's great.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to myself. This is just a recording.
Oh.
Okay, so is Lake up and ready to go?
No.
Okay, so as soon as Lake is ready, then we'll leave for the bagel shop.
Well, how long do you want that to be? Like 20 minutes or?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Has your mom gone already? She left for work?
No.
Oh, well, about the same time as your mom's going to leave.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Okay. Okay, we're planning the day's activity because I'm going to watch the girls today because Megan has to go to work. So, yesterday, ended up going back up to the main house, and Megan was right in the midst of cooking dinner and cutting the Brussels sprouts up, and Blake was making cornbread in muffin pans. And I put the little paper in the muffin tin, and then Bay came over and asked if she could redesign them because she didn't like the way I had mixed the navy blue and the white papers in there. So she redesigned them. But then Lake came over and said no, she didn't want them like that. She wanted different. And since she was the one cooking, she had the final word. So that was a little bit of a tiff, but actually not too bad. And so we had a very nice dinner of air-fried Brussels sprouts that were nice and crispy. They were cut into thirds, I believe. And then also some nice cornbread. So after dinner, Amy came over. And I have that wrong. Amy came over before we ate dinner. And she was in her house coat and her house slippers, and she just came over to say hi. So we sat and talked with Amy, which is always such a treat to have her around. The girls just really love her. And talked for a few minutes. She was telling us about Elliot's schedule. I asked her if I could borrow her car tomorrow so that I could have a car to go take the girls around while Megan was working. And I was out of bagels, and I wanted to get some bagels for the girls and myself too, if I have to be completely honest. Amy talked about how she would love a bagel herself, but bagels just turn to sugar in the body. And since she's diabetic now, she has to be careful about that and couldn't have one, but she really wanted one. So personally, I'm quite happy to see Amy taking care of herself and controlling her diabetes through diet alone. It's really a big accomplishment, in my opinion. After a little while, Amy left, and that's when we ate. And during our dinner, we discussed Pumpkin, one of the cats, who has been missing for several days now. And Lake was feeling sad because she felt Pumpkin was dead. And I was trying to present another view, another way of looking at things, that maybe she had been taken in by someone, the people who owned her before Megan stole the cats because they were outside. But that's another story. I'll let Megan tell that one. And that maybe the original owners had just taken Pumpkin back, and that Pumpkin was happy and being fed. He wasn't necessarily dead. Some of that was born of experience, where we've had cats around here who've disappeared several days at a time and then they've just come back. So it could be that. So I was trying to just offer up this other perspective instead of thinking that Pumpkin was dead and feeling sad, allowing the possibility that Pumpkin was being cared for. And I guess they would still feel sad for not having Pumpkin around. And Lake explained how Pumpkin was the smallest of the cats, and Megan explained that Pumpkin was not the sharpest crayon in the box, meaning kind of dumb, and not really streetwise, like Milo seems to be really streetwise. And so everybody felt sad for a little while, and then dinner was over, and Lake was going to then make cupcakes. She was going to make chocolate and vanilla cupcakes, and Dan had learned she was going to make cupcakes, and so he brought over a jar of maraschino cherries so that she could make him some as well. So whenever Lake cooks, it's like she has these big orders to fill, because we all love her cooking and her cupcakes and her chocolate chip cookies, which I'm still trying to get her to make me enough of. And so we were just talking about how much she's going to have to do. I was a little lazy because I usually like to wash up after dinner, but the dish drainer was all full of dishes and there wasn't any room to put the dirty dishes from if I wash them. So I just left, and I know that task will probably fall to Lake to do. So I feel a little guilty about that, having her wash dishes and cooking too. And while at dinner, they placed these stickers all over. She placed stickers on my face, and she placed stickers on her face, all over her face, like about 12 stickers. So it was pretty cute. That was kind of fun. And then I left to come back to my house. Bay wanted to spend the night, but her mom said no, because the last time Bay has supposedly spent the night here, she stayed up late, which I let her do, no problem. But then when it comes time to sleep, she says, oh, well, no, I want to go back to my house. So it's been a little tricky about, she wants to come down here and hang out, basically. She doesn't really want to spend the night here. But I still have her little pad and have it all made up with blankets, and so she'll be comfortable, because she has to sleep on the floor because my bed's not big enough for both of us. It used to be, but not anymore. So later that night, I was here at home, and I texted Lake because she had mentioned something about her and her mom going out and looking for pumpkin up and down the street. And so I asked her if they had done that. And Lake said no, she was going to do it herself. And I wrote her back saying, "It's 9 o'clock. It's dark. I can go with you while you walk up and down the streets." And she said, "No, I'm just okay doing it by myself." So I stayed home, and I guess she went off and did it by herself. I didn't hear her. I did turn on the porch light so that there would be a little more light in case she needed it. The next morning, which is this morning, I got up early because I knew Bay might come over. So I was up about 6:30, and Bay did come over, but not till a little after 8, which is surprised me because usually she's over first thing in the morning because she wants to have, her first breakfast of the day. And of course, I'm in a bit of a pickle because I don't have bagels for them. That's what we're going to go do later this morning. But since I'd asked Amy if I could use her car today, Amy came over in a few minutes, about 8:30, and said she was ready to go to work. So Bay and I sat and talked to Amy for a few minutes, and then Amy went to get her purse and everything, and Bay, who was wearing her mother's slip-on shoes, asked if she could go like she was dressed in her pajamas with her mom's high-heel slip-on shoes. So I said, yeah, it's okay with me. We're just going to go drop Amy off, which we did. We all piled into Amy's car. Bay wanted to sit in the front seat, so Amy let her. I don't know if she's allowed to do that or not. It's probably safer if she sits in the back seat, but this trip, short trip to Lakeway, Bay sat in the front seat. And as Amy was driving, Bay was asking her, "How do you change the screen color on your little monitor here?" And Amy explained that you had to go into settings, but that you couldn't do that while the car was in motion. And Bay asked her if she could roll down the window because she liked to have her hand out the window. And Amy said, no, it's too hot. And then Bay wanted to open the skylight. What's it called? Anyway, the little window in the top of the car, which is very cool. And Amy said no. And so it just kind of went like that, with Bay asking Amy a lot of questions. Amy was, one of the things she does is whoever sits in the front seat, she squeezes their knee, which is really aggravating. No offense, Amy. She doesn't do it to me, but she does it to the girls. And so she was doing that to Bay, and Bay asked her to stop. And she said, no, if you sit in the front seat, that's just part of what it is like when I'm driving. And Bay had just got back from her vacation to Florida and had visited Busch Gardens in Florida, which Amy had also visited. So they talked about the rides, and Bay said she was on the plastic log ride where you went in the water, and then she was also on the, I guess, a roller coaster ride, and that she was so scared because it had a big drop that she almost screamed. And then we started all talking about screaming and how you could scream when you went to amusement parks, and that's maybe why they had the rides that were so adventuresome. And I mentioned that, oh yeah, you could scream at sports events too. And so we started talking about opportunities for screaming. And then we finally got to Amy's work and dropped her off. And I started driving back home with Bay. Hi, Bay.
Hola.
Hola. What's up?
Blake will come down here whenever she's ready.
Oh, do you know when it's going to be? In a few minutes, or?
Maybe like 5 or something.
Okay, 5
maybe
or something
10.
minutes. Okay. Are you going to sit here on the bed and do your little Chromebook thing?
Yeah. Now, let me
Okay.
close the door all the way.
That's good.
Only Pumpkin and Milo know how to push their faces into the door and open it. They're
Oh.
kind of like you. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you kind of make a fit when nobody closes the door.
I do?
Yeah, I know.
Did Pumpkin come back last night? Still haven't seen him? Okay. Well, you look real cute
Thanks.
in what you selected to wear.
Yeah, I also have a headband.
Yeah, that's a pretty headband.
Yeah.
It keeps the hair out of your eyes. Really does a good job of that.
Yeah. And I like this cute little piece of bang.
It's a long bang, isn't it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Oh my gosh. That looks like hair to me. That's way beyond a bang.
Yeah, because I let my bangs grow out.
Pretty smart, pretty cool. What's that?
This song that I was showing you earlier.
Uh-oh. There. And that's a song you really like?
Yeah.
What's the name of it? Huh? Okay. Can you turn it off while I finish recording or put the headphones back on? There you go. Thank you, ma'am. So we dropped off Amy at work. Coming back, Faye wants the window down. So I just put the window down for her, unlocked the window. Child protection was on so that she could put the window down, which she did right away. And we just drove back to our property here. The sun was in her eyes. She didn't like that. I lectured her about why it's always a good idea to have a sun visor or a sun hat nearby. I always have one because they're so wonderful. I didn't lecture her too harshly, though, but just a little to make my point, which I'm sure has got to be aggravating. I lectured you about how important it was to always have a sun visor or a sun hat on. Didn't I?
Yeah.
The Judi Dench hairstyle here. Judi Dench is an actress a little older than me. She wears her hair very short. So I asked for a Judi Dench haircut, and the person at the Great Clips where I went didn't know who she was and had to look her up on her phone, had to Google her on her phone so that she could do the haircut. That's pretty funny. It's a little short, but it'll grow out, no problems. So, in summary, that was kind of what happened yesterday, and this is today, and I'm going to take the girls to replenish my bagel supply. I'll buy some for Megan to have at her house too, and get to spend most of the day with the girls. At some point, I have to go pick up Amy from her work. So, all is well. I love you. I love you, Megan. I love you, Amy. I love you, Lake. I love you, Bay. So happy to be in your lives so that I can share these little stories. They're not significant or earth-changing, but they're sweet. And hopefully this gave you a slice of life and what's going on. And maybe you still remember the 3 orange cats that y'all stole. And who knows how many cats you will have had since then. Okay. Love, 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 showering you with little sprinkles of light and goodness. Bye.